Welcome to the virtual read along of Women of Color in Tech, a blueprint for inspiring and mentoring the next generation of technology innovators, where seventh and eighth grade girls get exposed to the lessons learned in the tech industry. Chapter 1 was the current state of women of color in tech. Chapter 2, the different flavors of tech careers. 3, industry and other options. Chapter 4, emerging technologies. And this week, we're joined by Gary Johnson III to preview Chapter 5, building your network. Gary's the program manager and experience designer at Venture Cafe Philadelphia. There, he organizes weekly programs to connect innovators to making things happen. Before joining Venture Cafe, Gary launched the first Founders Accelerator, which is a 12-week startup boot camp preparing underrepresented entrepreneurs for success in the innovation economy. Gary, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thank you. So, building your network, that's right up your alley. What did you think about Chapter 5?
Well, first of all, I love everything about the entire book. The fact that it is a blueprint and a guide is what we need. We need more of that. And I think it really breaks down for both, young people seeking mentors and mentors seeking, how to be better mentors. I think it makes it a much less daunting process for everyone, which is awesome. And then to speak about just chapter 5 about building your network, like your network is your net worth, as I've heard, as I've sort of come up. And I love how in the book, there are sort of different methods for going about building that network, both, online and offline. And there's even a section that sort of says, accelerators are a great way to gain access to mentors. So that part definitely stuck out to me.
Awesome. So, Suzanne, as the author, what do you want our readers to take away from Chapter 5?
So what I'd like them to take away, and this was a very important lesson for me, is that for as much as it is gaining the skill and gaining the knowledge of the tech careers and the skills that are going to make you valuable, you need others to be successful. You can't do it alone. You need your mentors who are going to give you the necessary career advice. You need your sponsors who are going to be the people advocating for you to be promoted and look at certain opportunities. And you need your community for when things eventually get tough and rough, the people who are going to tell you, I got you, this is going to be okay. So as much as it is dependent that you develop that technical skill and all of these other great skills, you do need to devote that time to develop those relationships as well.
So, one of the things I love is how you talk about how to deal with anxiety and include almost some self-talk that readers can use to help boost their confidence. Gary or even Milena, what is your experience with that anxiety, and what are your thoughts on how Suzanne recommends approaching that in the book?
I think I would say, and what had also stood out to me in reading the book was, realizing that I think, at least in my early experience, when I at first thought of the term networking, I always kind of saw it as like, finding opportunities for yourselves through other people, rather than creating opportunities for each other and supporting each other. And that, I think the anxiety that I would have, and I think I've actually expressed this to you, Ms. Strickland, at some point when I needed your mentorship with GLIST was, I don't want to, ask too much of this and that person, if, I can't reciprocate it in any kind of way. And I think through reading the book, and especially in the section where we talk about building connections, it made me realize that it's really impossible to have a sustainable connection that's only one-sided. So I think if any of us are afraid of, asking too much without giving back, I think now kind of having the reassurance that when you've made this connection with someone, there's no way that it's not going to be back and forth, even something that you may be asking of them, if they're doing it for you, there's something good that may come out of it for them too, like something to maybe add to their resume or to their experience. In the same sense that I had asked like my friend to handle the social media campaign for Glyss, like it's a huge favor she's doing for us, but I think it's also giving her the chance to, have a platform to explore her interest in graphic design and to, reaching out to our audiences. So I think that definitely helped. The kind of anxiety that I would have with networking was, not knowing necessarily what to give back or if I was taking too much. And I think, again, being able to kind of go back and say, well, really, I don't think there's a way you can do that in networking. It's always, it's a network, like it's back and forth.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I love that. And I think to build off of that, I would just add that, like, especially in tech, this chapter speaks to the fact that, seeking a mentor, the thought of seeking a mentor, if this is your first time seeking a mentor or asking for mentorship, can be very stressful and, produce some anxiety. And you may feel like you have maybe imposter syndrome and you're not worth the mentor's time, or you're not good enough to be able to ask for mentorship at this, level of your career or your journey. When in reality, like, everyone has a similar fear of just asking for help. And the reality is that a lot of the people that we look up to are, sort of just waiting, right? Like if you ask for help, they would be like just willing to help you, overjoyed with the fact that you asked for help, honored to support you along your journey. I found that like after you get over that like mental block of just asking for help, you find that it's super simple and super easy just to ask for help, get people on board to wanting to support you. The challenge then, of course, and it's outlined in the book, is having those conversations where you're following up with your mentor and you're definitely intentional about the relationship. And if things are not working out for you, that's something that you just have to be honest about and say, I appreciate, all the time that you gave me. I learned a lot. But at this time, maybe this isn't the best for me right now. So I think that's definitely a reality. But there's so many people out there that have so much knowledge and experience and expertise. And from a mentor perspective, I don't think people are actively seeking mentees, but when mentees do come to them, they're like, yes, I would absolutely love to support you.
So there's a lot in chapter 5, and this isn't like, what do they say, spoiler alert, mentorship. They talk about it in chapter 5, right? So Gary, thank you for joining us. As always, Suzanne, wonderful to have you as the author here. And Milena, thank you again for sharing this space with us and your Glyss girls. All of the Glyss girls have received a copy courtesy of the Pollination Project and teachers, and we encourage everyone viewing this to get a copy. Read along with chapter 5 of Women of Color in Tech, a blueprint for inspiring and mentoring the next generation of technology innovators. Thank you. Enjoy chapter 5.
Thank you.
Yay!